I know that Mr. Emerson is expecting me. It was he, after all, who invited me here. And yet, as I approach the front door of his grand white home, I feel a twinge of nerves. I pause, staring up at the house, an imposing structure set back from the Cambridge Turnpike, hemmed by a fence, the columned porticos and rolling green lawns lending the place a simple, stately elegance. Bush is what Mr. Emerson called the estate in his letters, when he wrote to invite me from Cambridge out to the country for a week's visit. He'd read my newspaper tribute, Mr. Emerson explained, to his beloved brother Charles, so recently deceased of tuberculosis. He'd found that my words had touched his heart, providing some small balm to the pain of the untimely loss. I was a young writer of great promise, Mr. Emerson declared, his fine cursive filling the front and back of the page. As one of New England's most established lecturers, and perhaps its most prolific writer, he, Mr. Ralph Waldo Emerson, took great pride in being able to support individuals like me, even women, his words implied, though he had not stated that outright. But really, he hastened to add, the primary purpose of the visit was to provide companionship for his wife, Mrs. Lydian Emerson, now in the final months of her confinement before the expected arrival of their first child, and barely able to leave her bed. "He's collecting friends and thinkers to his side," Eliza Peabody had told me when she welcomed me into her Boston parlor for tea on the eve of my planned departure. Eliza, my friend of several years, and I had gravitated toward each other as two of the only young ladies in the Boston and Cambridge writing circles who shared the twin stains on our reputations of being unwed and wishing to work as published writers. We had an audacity to us that frightened many, an independence of spirit and circumstance that made us not a little bit threatening to some of the men who wrote about freedom and lectured about liberty, an independence that allowed me to accept an invitation such as this one from Mr. Emerson to stay as his house guest in the country. Eliza was in a position to tell me what I might expect from a visit at Emerson's estate, as she herself had made the very same 3-hour journey by stagecoach from Boston to Concord on more than one occasion to accept a similar invitation, or was it a summons, to the Emerson home. "He knows of you, Margaret, knows your reputation, evidently even knows some of your writing," Eliza said, stirring a pinch of sugar into her tea as she held me with her intense, inquisitive gaze. I did my best to bite back the flattered smile that pulled on my lips. To think my work had been read and enjoyed by a man such as Ralph Waldo Emerson. Certainly there were many who found my work and my passions unladylike, even unnatural. But not Mr. Emerson, it seemed. Eliza went on. "Sophia and I were with the Emersons out at Bush in the spring." While Eliza was a celebrated wit and lady of letters, her sister Sophia was known to excel at painting. "It promises to be interesting, my dear, to say the least. A chance to glimpse the great Sage of Concord at home." And now here I stand, clutching my cloth bag and gazing at the front door of Mr. Ralph Waldo Emerson's home. I glance down at my dress, a simple poplin of dove gray, a cream-colored kerchief tied modestly around my neck. I pat the skirt, and then raise my gloved hands to make certain that my chestnut bun is tidy, the curls bobbing down the nape of my neck, giving myself one final prink before I knock. I'm expecting a servant of some sort, perhaps a housekeeper or cook, but the man who greets me at the door is none other than Mr. Ralph Waldo Emerson himself. I know his famous face. "Oh, yes, Mr. Emerson." I shift my bag from one hand to the other, forcing a bright tone even as I feel my cheeks grow warm. "Hello." Mr. Emerson looks at me, one corner of his mouth tilting upward, the hint of a half-smile, and then he extends a hand in greeting. "And this must be the famous Margaret Fuller of Cambridge at my doorstep?" I take his outstretched hand and let out a puff of breath that sounds like a warble. I'm struck by the deep timbre of his voice, and by his informal manner. I hadn't expected either. Already he's caught me back on my heels, so I square my shoulders and summon a casual smile as I reply, "I don't know about famous, but I am Margaret Fuller indeed."